Hello everyone, welcome to the Spiritual Insight Show. I'm Reverend Tiffany White, Sage Woman. So great to be back on the airwaves this week. I took last week off just to be gentle to myself and just honor. And I am feeling as well as everyone may be feeling. A little off, been feeling like I just need to rest a little bit more. And ironically during that, it's did I rest? I did do some journaling, but I felt like at the same time, even though I was resting, I was still working. So it just was it's a very unusual experience. It's you just keep going. You have to allow yourself though that time to rest as well. And what I say is we keep working is in the astral plane, we're still working. So as I'm resting, I'm still working. I'm working in the higher vibrations. I'm working outside my body. I'm working with other light workers that are astral traveling. And I just say light workers loosely. It's with everyone else that can do that as well. And those that are, committed to helping get humanity back to the upper vibrations that we were once in. All right. The topic for this show is actually a recap. We're going to talk about some empaths. I think I did a show about this last year. But I had a student of my Psychic Medium Awakening and Developing course, had asked a great question. And I thought I would discuss this question and go over empaths once more for those of you who may not have watched the show last year and who are new to the shows. So a recap is always good, right? And also to see if there's any updates from the guides as I am going over all of this. So a student had asked me, what is the difference between empathy and sympathy? That's a really good question. Because in my Psychic Medium Awakening and Development course, I'm just going to call it PMAD from now on, PMAD. In my course, I do go over what an empath is and the characteristics of an empath. So I thought this was a really great question. What's the difference between empathy and sympathy? Many of us already got this and can answer it, but let's go over this, shall we? So you already know that empaths, or you're going to know in great detail in a few more moments, but you may have heard that empaths, or empathy from empaths, feels. It's a feeling another person's pain or situation as if it's their own. Sympathy is when someone can relate to someone else's situation or pain and has compassion for that person. So feeling and relating to someone else's situation are on different vibrations. It's a different understanding. So is one better than the other? No, not at all. Both are parts of the whole and part of that oneness of all of divine creation. Okay. So now let's go over and talk about, and we could talk more about sympathy, but I think we all got that. We understand what that is. We can sympathize if you've related to it. So can you have sympathy if you haven't gone through a situation that someone else can? Even though we don't actually have this exact same situations, we can understand and relate to how that person probably feels. So you can relate to something whether you've experienced it or not. Who's to say you haven't experienced it in another lifetime? Who's to say you haven't already experienced it in a different level subconsciously, but you may not remember it consciously? Absolutely, people can be sympathetic and compassionate without having to go through an experience that someone else has. So now let's talk about empaths in a little bit more detail and see if you are one. Empaths. So in short, an empath, is someone who feels that what other people are feeling. See, I'm still just a little off. All right. Oh, take a deep breath. All right. It's okay, we just gotta go with it, right? Laugh at ourselves, don't take ourselves so darn serious, and let's just keep going. Alright. Being an empath means you were born with the ability to feel someone else's aura, or they call luminous energy field, LEF, and explore another person's feelings and experience of life on an intimate level. 90% of the time, this is done unconsciously. On the upside, you know what it feels like to be another person. So you're often very, very compassionate towards others and can relate to them easily. Sounds kind of like sympathy if you can relate to them. So included in empathy is sympathy. Empathy is a psychic gift, a divine gift, and you can use it to read other people. On the downside, well, there's lots of downsides until you learn to get empathy under command. On the downsides, one of the downsides is that you're like a sponge full of other people's emotions, the conscious and the unconscious ones. It gets tiring. It can be exhausting. Plenty of people are empathetic and don't even realize it. When that is the case for you, you always have the feeling that you're weird, that you have sensitivity issues, and that other people just don't have. But you're not always sure what they are. So let's see if we can relate to any of the following signs of the unaware empath. Feeling the world suffering on a large scale and wishing you could do something to help. Ironically, this makes you less equipped to help because you feel overwhelmed. Finding it difficult to watch the news or distressing images because you feel the pain of the being you're watching, as if you are them. All beings, that's human, animals, earth, etc. I understand those people that want to, we want to make you aware, we want to make people wake up, this is what's happening, abuse to animals. Empaths do not need to see the pictures. I have to be very careful, quickly kind of scroll first when I'm on social networks to make sure, because if I stay too long on a picture, I'm there. And it does not help an empath. It makes them feel helpless when they tune in like that. Okay, you're not making them aware. They're totally aware of what has happened to this particular being. But what can they do to help? Especially if it's already been done. You just make someone feel more helpless. So just take that into consideration when you post pictures like that. But you're finding it difficult to be fully present to yourself and your own feelings when conversing with other people. This is because you're busy exploring their aura, their luminous energy field, and responses to life, and not your own. You will feel ungrounded, you can feel dizzy, and sometimes sick to your stomach if you don't like the energy you're picking up on. When you feel this way, you got to quickly ground yourself and realize you're too much into their energy, and just pull back a little bit, protect yourself. Just by knowing that you are grounded and anchored into the earth, yet still a part of the sky. Grounding. Shyness. Empathy can make you somewhat self-conscious as you're very aware of the effect your words have on another person and what you're thinking and feeling in response. A tendency to say yes to the requests and demands of other people almost as a reflex without even thinking about whether you want to or not. And when you're so immersed in another person's experience of life and what they need, how can you say no? It's only afterwards that you realize you forgot yourself and your own needs. So do you fill your plate up too fast, too quick? A general tendency to put your needs last or serve others at your own expense. A liking for distance in relationships and for solitude. This occurs because, as an empath, intimacy and closeness is your default. But when you don't know how to protect yourself from exploring other people's auras, you need some space on your own where you aren't around other people. Establishing healthy boundaries is a necessity. Feeling an affinity with an animal in the plant kingdom You can get a feel for how other species, other beings experience life, and you are able to relate to animals, to plants, to nature on a very deep level. Feeling responsible for how other people feel and going out of your way to help them feel better, even when it doesn't serve you. We can't fix everything. After all, you feel their emotions so keenly. This is part of establishing healthy boundaries. Some people don't want your help, and some people you're not supposed to. From up close personal, you can always send somebody some distant healing and distant love. Finding yourself often in a counselor role where people dump their emotions on you and being very drained by it. An emotional or over-identification with characters in novels, plays, movies, and TV. It doesn't matter that they're not real. You can still feel how they feel. It's a sign of a great actor and actress, I always say. When they carry me to emotion, I'm like, wow, that was powerful. They took me there. A tendency to forget to have fun and lighten up. Empaths are usually deeply spiritual people, simply because the gift of empathy allows you to experience oneness. This, in turn, gives you an expanded perception on other people and on life. If you can relate to these signs, be assured that you can command whose emotions you feel and explore, instead of automatically exploring the aura or luminous energy field of most of the people you meet. You can choose whether you want to explore this connection or not. It isn't a matter of turning it on or off, for it really is on all the time. The choice is whether you want to focus on another person's energy or not. When we choose not to focus on something or someone, we shouldn't ignore it, but just redirect your focus of energy. Be aware of your surroundings. A lot of times, too, you can pick up on imprints from the land, the history. We can feel this and see this and know that this particular thing happened as well. So we pick up impressions from every living being. Being empathic requires a great deal of care in order to maintain stability. Severe mood swings, clinical depression, and chronic anxiety are present in the worst case scenarios of the empathic person. How is this managed? The first step is to understand grounding. When one is grounded, there is a strong awareness of your energy, just your energy. This enables the ability to send unwanted energy away, and also the presence of a strong, positive, balanced energy. One easy way to ground is to send roots from the body into the earth, clear down to the bedrock, and anchor yourself there. Relax into this feeling. Take slow, deep breaths. And how do you feel when you breathe in? How do you feel when you breathe out? Do not concern yourself with, am I doing this right? When we have to concern ourselves with, am I doing this right, we actually drop out of what we're trying to concentrate and focus on. Let me say what we're trying to focus on will drop out. Because then we feel our mind kicking in. And when our mind kicks in like that, that means we've dropped out. We've kind of shut off or turned away from the heart, feeling in the heart. Crystals and gemstones are wonderful tools for grounding. The darker colored gemstones that match your lower chakras are highly recommended. Hold a lower chakra colored gemstone in the right hand and a lighter crystal gemstone, higher chakra colored, in your left hand when you need to ground. This is why meditation is so important, to help you ground and balance yourself. Rocks and shells are wonderful tools for grounding as well. And it doesn't really matter which hand you use. Just use what's comfortable and what feels right for you. Being in public, many people keep gemstones or crystals in their pockets, or they have them in wearable jewelry to assist them with grounding and being balanced. Balanced, which helps with establishing healthy boundaries. That's what you want, to be balanced. At home, you can have bigger pieces of crystals, gemstones, rocks, and shells. Also, helps keep your sacred space of home cleansed and free of negative energies. Place these on your altar, your mantle, or all around the house, wherever you feel they need to be. Smudging or light incense and another powerful is another lighting, sorry. Smudging or lighting incense is another powerful cleansing tool and technique. Interestingly, many empaths are attracted to the healing arts, energy healing, Reiki, hands-on healing, and many more healing modalities. It could be massage, it could be anything, even in the conventional medicine field. Since someone else's pain can be felt on a very real and personal level, the desire to help and guide one to healing is very strong with empaths. So that is some of the highlights and fine points of being an empath. And then, like I said, that difference of empathy and sympathy, I hope you understand that now. Empathy is feeling. When you think of empaths, always think of feel, feel, feel. Sympathy is a relate. You can relate to it. And you can be compassionate. I have to say here, though, I feel that some people can relate to something but not be compassionate about it. It depends how they treat their compassion. So the key word, though, for sympathy is relate, empathy, feel. So I hope that this has answered the question of the student that had asked, and also for many others who were kind of interested, and maybe let's explore this a little bit deeper. Many of us, it is our birthright. We are born feeling and being taught, and we are taught how to relate to others sometimes. Always remember who you are, and we have to take the time to always reconnect within us to make sure of who we are. Many of us don't even know who we are until we're in our 30s or 40s and we finally find ourselves and go, wow, what took me so freaking long? Where have you been? Thank goodness the kids coming in now are there so very quickly. And so they can be powerful teachers for us. We're all learning. We, on a daily basis, each and every one of us on this earth plane is here to learn and to experience and to, like I said, to help bring humanity back into the upper vibrations of love, of just that oneness. So thank you so very much for everyone who had sat in the sacred circle. I'm keeping this show this week a little shorter than usual. I'm still not 100%, and see, I get tired. I'm tired already just in the 20 minutes of just sitting here. I feel, and I was sharing part of my course. Again, this is part of my Psychic Medium Awakening and Developing course. You can find that on my website, www.whitesagewoman.com. Go on there, and there is a tab Online Courses. You can check out the online courses that I have to offer, and be gentle and patient with yourselves during this time. If you feel different, journal it, write it down, note it, but don't give it so much energy that it becomes hypochondriac. Note it. And of course, if it's an emergency, you know what to do then. Right? Okay. So I am going to, like I said, just keep this short. And thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, for listening. I will be back next week with a longer show. Knock on wood. So let's see how my energy levels are. I'm having to do things in short little bursts and spurts. And okay, move on. And that's okay. Like I said, it's all part of being gentle and patient with yourself. And the very beginning of the day, I always give gratitude and I'm thankful, but I also say I will get everything I need to get done today. So if I didn't complete it by the end of the day, it did not need to get done that particular moment. And to be gentle with myself, because it will get done, just in its own divine timing, right? So, thank you again, everyone, for sitting in Sacred Circle with me. I feel your energy and giving the love and the energy right back. May the obstacles to your flight be few and the blessings along your journey be many. Until next week, namaste.